Labor Day, Broncos country. Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. My name is Moose. And on today's episode, 5 bold predictions, hot takes, if you will, now that the post-53-man roster has been officially set. So I'm going to give you 5 hot takes, and I did this earlier on in the summer, but now that everything is solidified, I've kind of tweaked everything that I actually believe about the Denver Broncos 2025 season, and I'm ready to share that with you. Now, before we get started, please do me the honor of sharing your Denver Broncos hot take with me. Everybody's got at least one hot take, so get down in the comment section down there and let me know, and let's go back and forth and talk about if I think your take has any validity. A disclaimer, this recording is being filmed the day after the 53-man roster came out. So at the time of this recording, it is Wednesday the 27th, so new information may have came out. I don't want anybody to panic if some information is not covered from what we have found out. Let's start with my very first Denver Broncos hot take. 3 Denver Broncos edges have over 10-plus sacks. I've mentioned this a couple of times. After I saw some of the performances, not only from Nik Bonitto, but guys like Jonah Ellis as well, I was really, really high on this Denver Broncos edge room, even more so than last year's performances, because last year the Broncos led the NFL in sacks with 63. So I kind of filtered through and sifted through all of the excess stuff, and I came up with 3 players that I believe are going to have 10-plus sacks. Obviously, Nik Bonitto. I think Jonathan Cooper does it again, and this time Jonah Ellis doubles his sack total from 2024. One player, though, specifically that is leading this edge charge is Nik Bonitto. We knew this, a guy that is well on his way to getting paid a big-time amount of money. Cannot wait to see what his payday looks like, because I truly believe he's on the verge of sustained greatness. And his 2024 season was outstanding. I think there's another level that he can get to. And what is that level that you might be asking? Well, to me, I look at that and I say, he's got to have 15 sacks this year. That's that next level. If you could get 15-plus sacks, and that doesn't mean that if he had a 14-sack season, it would be a bad year. That's unbelievable. But I think to be in the upper echelon of edge rushers, to be in contention with the likes of Myles Garrett and TJ Watt and Trey Hendrickson, you've got to have more than 15 sacks. So last year in 2024, it was a great start. Now I'm looking to see how you can take that greatness and add on to it. So my final predictions: Bonitto 15 sacks, Cooper 11 sacks, and Jonah Ellis, I think, squeaks in there with 10.5 sacks. Altogether, this is 36.5 sacks between 3 players. That's a little over 12 each. That's pretty impressive. Let's move on to my second hot take for the 2025 season. And this one might come as a surprise to some of you who love J.K. Dobbins. I do think RJ Harvey, at the very end of the year, leads this team in rushing. And I say that because one specific thing. I believe they're going to use J.K. Dobbins sparingly throughout the season. I think they lean on him heavily in the beginning. But then I think as more wear and tear comes on throughout the season, and J.K. Dobbins being an injury-prone player, I think R.J. Harvey will be utilized a lot more as the season progresses. Does that make sense? So I think the first 5 weeks, you're going to see J.K. Dobbins early, often, all the time. And then I think as you see more week 7 through week 17, R.J. Harvey's workload will go up and up and up and up. And also, let's be honest, it's been a lot of years that J.K. Dobbins has missed a lot of games. This is his full injury history. He missed the entire 2021 season with a knee injury, an ACL tear in October of 2022, a torn Achilles in 2023, and then an MCL sprain in 2024. 2024 was actually his most healthy season, and he still missed 4 games. So, my final prediction for RJ Harvey, and by the way, that's not me saying that JK is going to get injured this year, but if history is any indication, there will be a couple of games that he might miss. Here's my full prediction for RJ Harvey's 2025. 962 yards rushing, 291 yards receiving. By the way, that's over 1,200 scrimmage yards. And I'm going to say 7 total touchdowns for RJ Harvey. 6 on the ground, 1 through the air. If you agree with me, or disagree with me? Let me know in the comment section down below. Yes or no? Do you think that RJ Harvey is going to lead this team in rushing? Sound off down below. Now, before we get into my next hot takes, my friends, I have to tell you about our friends over at Harry's. When I need to personally groom, and I'm talking shave, all of the works, I trust my friends at Harry's. I'm the hairiest guy you know, and believe me when I say this, I not only love the way this blade feels on my skin, but it's unbelievably affordable. And speaking of affordable, for a limited time, our listeners can get Harry's trial set for only $8 and a free gift at harrys.com/chat. Is your old razor getting way too dull too fast? Does it irritate your neck? And does it cost way too much? $20 for a 4-pack of refills is a total scam. That's where Harry's comes in. Each razor has a weighted ergonomic handle that gives you total control. No more slipping or awkward angles. It is a premium feel in your hand for a balanced and smoother, steadier shave. But they don't just make razors. They've got a full line of grooming essentials, from shave gel to deodorant to body wash, all thoughtfully made and priced to stock up. Like I said, for a limited time, our listeners can get Harry's trial set for only $8 plus a free gift at harrys.com/chat. Just head over to harrys.com/chat to receive our exclusive discount. And after you purchase, they're going to say, hey, where'd you hear about us? Please support the Broncos Breakdown and tell them our show sent you. I'll have all of that in the comments and description of today's video. Let's get back into our hot takes, shall we? Because we've only given you 2. There are 5 on this list. So let's jump into number 3, shall we? And believe it or not, I kind of want to balance ourselves out here. I want to go from offense to defense to offense. So we're going to stick in the offensive realm here. Let's go with 4 Denver Broncos have 500-plus yards receiving. And I'm sure you're already wondering, who are going to be those 4? Well, I'm just going to come out and tell you. It's going to be Courtland Sutton. It's going to be our guy, Evan Ingram, Marvin Mims, and Troy Franklin. Here's my projections for all of them. 82 receptions for a little over 1,100 yards, 9 touchdowns for Courtland as wide receiver 1. Evan Ingram's going to have about 68 receptions for 787. Marvin Mims is going to have about 47 receptions for 589 yards. And Troy Franklin coming in at 55 for 687 yards. Those might look like high numbers, but over the course of 17 games, you're talking about Bo Nix averaging, what do you think, 35 attempts per game? And if we're expecting him to have around a 70% completion percentage, you're talking about a lot of completions per game. There is another player that I do want to highlight. That's Marvin Mims. Why? Because Mims just isn't a wide receiver. So if you looked at Mims' receiving stat projection there and you're like, that feels low, don't worry. Marvin Mims is not just a wide receiver. He's a scrimmage yard monster. He's going to take some snaps in the backfield. He's going to be a special teams returner, so all-purpose yards as well. I absolutely believe that all-encompassing, Marvin Mims is going to have well over 1,000 total yards being all-purpose from the time the season starts to the time the season finishes. So Marvin Mims feels like one of those players that can really stand out not just as a wide receiver, but as a player on this Broncos team. Moving into our 4th hot take. Let's go back to defense here for a second. 5 Denver Broncos defenders make a Pro Bowl. This one I feel probably the most confident about. This is like the one hot take where I look at it and I say Moose is going to get this nail on the head. Why? Because there's so much freaking talent right here. I don't think you realize just how much this Broncos defensive line, linebacking room, and secondary has to offer. And I'm looking at guys like this right now. Pat Surtain, obviously. But Zach Allen, keep your eye on him for a second because we're going to touch on him in here just a little bit. Nik Bonitto, of course. Drake Greenlaw, I think, gets back. Same with Talanoa Hufanga. Those guys have not made Pro Bowls recently because of their injuries. But when they are healthy, they are all pro players, both of them. So if you get them back to that all-pro status that you're looking for, there's 2. Pat Surtain is definitely 3. 3 right off the bat. Nik Bonitto, I absolutely think is going to get there. But Zach Allen has never made a Pro Bowl. Doesn't that just sound crazy to you? He has never once made a Pro Bowl. I think that's insane, considering he's probably the most talented player outside of Pat Surtain on this Broncos defense. So I'm looking at Zach Allen to make a statement this year after the contract and everything and say, look, this is my time to shine, baby. But all 5 of these players have Pro Bowl level talent, make no mistake. So I'm good with it. I'm good with the 5. Let me know if you are as well down in the comment section. How many Broncos defenders will make a Pro Bowl? 5 feels right to me. I could see if you said a little bit less. I could see you saying 3 or 4. I don't think anything higher than 5. I would love to see more than 5, but 5 feels about right. Because remember, you're only starting 11 players on defense. So let me know in the comment section down below. Our last hot take. What is it? You got to mention the quarterback, right? Bo finishing top 5 in MVP voting. This is one that I had earlier. I'm still staking my claim for it. Because guess what? Toot, toot. I'm all aboard the Bo Nix hype train. I really am. I'm so excited for this 2025 season around QB1. So my projections for Bo Nix, 68% completion percentage, a little over 4,000 yards passing. I've got him at 33 passing touchdowns and 9 interceptions. I feel like this will get you a Pro Bowl nod. And also, where does the top 5 in MVP voting come in? Well, Bo's going to have more rushing yards as well. And I also think he scores a couple of times, maybe 2 or 3 times on the ground as well. So if we're looking at 300 to 400 yards rushing, that would put you at roughly 4,400 total yards, 35 to 36 touchdowns, and we'll say a total of 10 turnovers. That is absolutely a top 5 in MVP voting season, especially if the Broncos win the AFC West. And I also think that at the very end of the season, he's going to be considered a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. I'm that high on Bo Nix. I don't know where the hate from Bo comes from. Maybe it's because they view him as a system quarterback, but you know who else was a system quarterback? Tom Brady. And he won 7 Super Bowls. So I don't want to hear about your system quarterback take. That's stupid. All right, it's been a long video. I realize that. So do me a favor if you made it to the very, very end. Type those me's down in the comment section down below. It shows me that real Broncos fans are watching all of these videos, and I want to see where they're at. So type me down there in the comment section. That's going to do it for us on today's episode. A reminder to hit subscribe if you haven't. Like the video if you haven't already. And as always, Broncos country, be cool.